Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Gray. I hope you guys had a good Memorial Day. I worked because I'm in the car industry, but I did get a little bit of downtime, which allowed me to think about the next topic for this video. And honestly, I think I have a treat for you here. I think it's going to be pretty cool. As you can see, I may look a little different on camera this time around. I did get some form of tiny softbox lighting, so I hope it looks a bit better than it did before. So this video is going to be about a topic that I'm actually pretty familiar with, and I'm sure that most of you are as well. It's a very well-known occurrence, and also not the only one of its kind. So without further ado, we'll get right into it. Our story begins on a warm evening in the year 1518 in a city called Strasbourg. This city back then was a free city within the Holy Roman Empire, which is now considered France. It was a quiet night in the city as authorities went about their business as normal, not really expecting anything of concern to occur. That is, until a woman, and please forgive me if I butcher this name, known as Frau Trophy, stepped out onto the street and began dancing. Now, there's nothing wrong with dancing. In fact, the city did hold the occasional festival, so it wasn't out of the ordinary for people to have a bit of fun. Only in this case, there was no music, and there was no festival. When city authorities tried to confront the woman, she seemed unable to stop. Sources say she seemed as if she was in some kind of trance, her body in motion beneath her, but her eyes stayed forward as if daydreaming. At this point, Miss Troffia was completely unresponsive to anyone attempting to interact with her, and she just kept dancing until she collapsed from sheer exhaustion. Many of the town's residents were out and about and witnessed the event and were close by to try and attempt to get some kind of information on the bizarre thing that they had just witnessed. Instead of finding the answers they sought, they were left with even more confusion when, after only a short minute of catching her breath, Miss Trophy began dancing once more. This cycle resumed for days. She would dance until her body gave out beneath her, and after a short few minutes, she would resume again. The city authorities were absolutely baffled by the situation, even more so when bystanders began to join her. It's said that after 1 week of the woman dancing, 30 other citizens had joined in. They kept dancing past the point of injury, and you could see it on all of the citizens' faces, from breaking bones to throwing up from dehydration or flat out collapsing from exhaustion. It's also said that some were screaming or wincing from the pain that they were feeling, but even then, they continued to dance. City authorities threw their hands in the air, eventually consulting religious leaders to try and find some type of solution, some type of answer to what was going on here. And to their surprise, the religious leaders theorized that more dancing was the solution. They began putting together guild halls and spaces for the dancers to gather, going as far as to hire musicians to accompany the dancing, and to top it off, they even hired professional dancers to help these people continue dancing. As many of us would guess, this made things a whole lot worse. This painful escapade continued for 2 months, starting in July and coming to a slowly dissipating end in early September. By the point it was over 400 people had joined Miss Trophy in this symphony of painful, convulsive frenzy, and as expected, a number of them died from their exertions. This particular event was one of the most well-documented such cases in Europe, but not the only one to take place. Another similar event erupted years later in 1374 and actually spread across several towns along the Rhine River, which was a 700-mile river that flowed through 6 countries before emptying into the North Sea. Now, there are many theories surrounding the whole event, some such as demonic possession or overheated blood. Now, what I found during my research, overheated blood actually makes sense here. If we take a look at the average temperatures in the Roman Empire in 1518, it just so happens that the Roman Empire was experiencing unusually warm weather during a phenomenon known as the Roman Warm Period, which lasted from approximately 250 BC to AD 400. This event caused a much warmer climate than usual, of course. Even the Mediterranean Sea was about 4 degrees hotter than usual. While a heat wave would explain some sicknesses during this time, the most widely accepted theory came from an American medical historian named John Walter. Walter wrote several papers that explained his reasoning for believing that the dancing plague was nothing more than a form of mass psychogenic disorder. Walter arrived at this theory by watching the trend itself, and he figured out that most of the events took place during times of great stress. For the case of the dancing plague of 1518, he makes a point that the presence of life-threatening diseases and famines were no doubt the main stressors of the people of Strasbourg. This event went into legend, with many people saying that if you don't win the favor of a deity known as Saint Vitus, who was the patron saint of epileptics and dancers, that you would forever be cursed to dance in the street to your demise. I can't imagine being a bystander here, someone completely unaffected, and watching friends or family members dance until their bodies give out beneath them, only to get up and do it again. With that being said, it's time we took care of ourselves. Go take a break, go get some fresh air, go touch some grass, and maybe look at some cat videos or something, whatever you want to do to decompress. Either way, that marks the end of this video, and this event is really just a reminder of how powerful the brain can be and how gentle we need to be taking care of it. I would like to do a part 2. I did do some collaboration on the research of this topic, so I will be bringing out some more stuff that I found during our research, and maybe it'll shed some more light on happenings of similar events that happened before the dancing plague of 1518. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.